Hey guys, welcome to Aspire Fitness's first at-home, buy your couch, get fit while you do it workout. My friend Crystal and I are going to guide you through a 45 to 50 minute workout that you can do at home to keep yourself fit and strong. So without further ado, we're going to start with a few dynamic-y, rhythmic-y stretches to get your body grooving. And then we're going to move to some body weight / animal flow style exercises. And then we're going to move into some basic strength stuff using predominantly body weight activities. Stuff you can do at home with a chair, with a couch, with ground. We've all got gravity. We should be good to go. So without further ado, we're going to bring Crystal into this and we're going to start getting warmed up on the floor with a few dynamic-y, stretchy things, a bit yoga in their feel. Okay guys, so we are now ready to start our yoga-ish style warm-up stretch part. So the first thing we've got is a really simple upward dog. So Crystal's going to have her hands under her shoulders. She's going to lift up as high as she can. She's going to bring her shoulders down to lengthen the neck. Keep the butt a little bit tight so the hips are close to the ground. From there, transition straight into what we will call a child's pose. You notice her arms are stretching out. She's actually pressing into the floor and her tailbone is rounding towards her heels. Now she's going to pull her toes underneath her and move to a downward dog. So in this, we really much want to make a triangle with the tailbone being the highest point and a lovely straight line down to the hands, which are still at shoulder width or maybe just a touch wider. She's making an effort to push her chest towards her feet. She's trying to stay as straight as she can through the back of the legs over here and the heels dropping into the ground. From there, she's going to bring her body weight forward over her hands so her hips come down. Straight line, and now she's going to step 1 foot outside the hand, as long a step as you can. If you can get right up to your hand, that's great. Then she's going to lift off this hand and turn and rotate to the ceiling, whereupon she should be in a straight line all the way down. She's also trying to push her hips into the floor a little bit, so you're turning into your front leg. Now take that hand down to the ground, pull yourself back to downward dog again, and this time step to the other side. Good. Again, pressing the hips down, reaching up to the ceiling. Should be able to draw a straight line right down to that bottom arm. Notice how she's pushing her hips down a little bit, and she's turned her chest into her front leg. Pull back to downward dog now, please. Return to child's pose, so the knees drop to the ground, the hips move back. And then she brings herself back to her front, lays on her front, again, hands under the shoulders, and we'll repeat that a second round. There's your upward dog. The shoulders pulling back, the butt tight, the hips close to the floor. She'll now pull back to child's pose, so the hips move back to the heels, curling the tailbone round, pressing the chest down a little bit. Now rising to downward dog, so toes coming under, lifting the hips up high, so the butt is up high, dropping down the back of the legs, pushing the chest into the thighs, getting a bit of a stretch. From there, she's going to bring her body flat, bring the hips down. Notice she's in a lovely straight line. She now steps 1 foot outside the hand. If you need to take a couple of bites of the cherry to get your foot there, that's fine. She's now going to lift and look to the ceiling, and she's pressing her hips down into the ground while she looks up. Now she'll take the feet back to downward dog again. And now she'll try the other side. So stepping forward, pressing the hips down and rising up. Good. Take the hand down to the ground, pull back to downward dog, dropping through the heels, maybe take a breath or two and exhale, relax and push the chest down. Child's pose. Lovely long reach, really stretch out those arms there if you can. Let's do one more round. Lay on your front again. Again, hands starting under the shoulders. Notice the elbows are in. Roll the shoulder back into the spine as she comes upward dog again. Then child's pose. Take a moment. Rise to down dog. See if you can get your heels a little closer to the ground as we get warmer. Bring it to a flat line and step outside the hand. Turn into the front leg and look to the ceiling. Place the hand down. Other side. Looking to the ceiling. Great. Downward dog one more time. Dropping the knees to the floor, the butt back to the heels again. There's your child's pose one last time. And back to your front, lay down. Great, so that's 3 times. If you want to do it a couple more times to get nice and warm, that's great, but that's that stage of the warm-up. Next up, we're going to go to a series of upper body stretches. Working a little bit more on the chest and the shoulders and lower back rotation as well. This first one we like to call a boob crusher, because Crystal always told me she feels like it's crushing her boobs, but she still does it. So this first one here, we want your arm at a 90-degree angle at the elbow and again at the shoulder as well. I need to keep the chest quite low to the ground, okay? Make sure that your shoulder is not up by your ear, but it's actually in its socket. And the other hand looks like a press up. When I do this, I'm going to use my press-uppy hand to turn my body, and I let my leg step over and follow. Notice how I'm trying to turn this knee up to the ceiling to encourage more rotation. But I am still keeping my shoulder close to the floor as I'm not lifting up. I'm staying low as I rotate. And I can come back to the other side, set the other arm up at 90 degrees. This one transitions. Keep my chest low, look away, and roll over that shoulder. Notice how I'm, again, turning that knee up. It just helps to guide the stretch a little bit. From there, come back to your front, reach one arm out long in front, turn over, and just roll on towards your back. That arm now goes to the outside of the knee, and the other one reaches across. Get a nice little lower back twist, a little bit more shouldery stretch. Come back to the center. Reach your arm out, spin, other knee up, hand on it, look away. Back to your front. Boob crusher number one, shoulder down. Make sure you're not here and you're not here. It's just out there, over the top. Other side. Reach, graceful roll, stretch the lower back. Reach, this helps you roll over more easily. Back to your front again, one more round, shoulder down. See if we can go a little bit further on that stretch this time. A bit more stretch. Other side. Bit more stretch. There we go. Reach out. Grab the knee. Twist. Nice little butt stretch while we're here. Reach out. That just makes the roll look and feel cool. Other knee up. Reach out. And then back to your front. And we're done with that bit. Okay, so we're on our feet now. We're going to warm up the upper body, a little bit more hamstrings as well, a few standing stretches. First thing we've got is a fairly wide stance with the knees and toes turned outwards by about 45 degrees. She's just going to squat into her legs a little bit. Now she's going to reach over the top sideways, trying to lengthen all the way down one side, supporting the elbow on the knee. Now take the whole body across the other way. Again, that length out of the side. Notice her arm is quite close to her ear. Right down here, it's not up in the air. Down here, getting that full stretch. She's going to do this 6 times, so that's 2, 3, 4, just a briefest little hold, there you go. 5, 6. Great, now come back to the top, Crystal. What I want you to do, Crystal, is turn your toes pointing forward at this time. Straighten your knees as much as you can and hang down towards the ground, a forward fold, okay? We do need you to get your hands to the floor, so if you need to bend your knees a bit, that's totally fine, okay? But keep them straight if you can. Walk your hands about 1 meter in front and quite central. Put your hands right in the middle, Crystal, good. So you should feel a good stretch down the back of the legs here. The knees are as straight as you can get away with, and the heels are down. Now reach one hand towards the opposite leg outside the calf and stretch down towards the ankle if you can, getting a really good rotation while still pushing into the shoulder. Let's try the other hand. Again, reaching to the outside of the calf, way down towards the ankle if you're feeling bendy, girl. And that twist, notice that fairly straight line through here. Okay, back to the center. walk your hands back to your feet and roll up to your feet. Okay, side reaches again. Let's do 6. Go. Toes turn out. 1, 2, 3. Good. Going a little further as if you get warm now. 4, 5, 6. Turn the toes to the front. Straight knees if you can. Forward fold to the ground. Enjoy that for a moment. Walk your hands about 1 meter in front of your feet. Probably not quite that far, to be honest. Pushing the chest back into the thighs. Reach one hand towards the outside opposite shin. Sliding down to the ankle if you can. Nice little twist through the torso. Now change sides. Nice little twist. Great. Walk back to your feet and then roll up. Awesome. Should be a little bit warmer now. Okay, let's get into a little bit of abdominal conditioning, waking up your core muscles, and it's starting to move towards some animal flow at this time. So Crystal is laying on her back. She's got her feet hip or shoulder width apart, and they're fairly close to her butt, so that's cool. Now what I'd like you to do, Crystal, is take your hands on your chest like you've got a boxer with their guard up, okay? Now I'm gonna need you to clench your butt as hard as you can and lift your hips up. Notice how she's lifting up, using the glutes to drive up. Now she's gonna do a side reach. She's rolling about 2/3 of the way onto the outside of the shoulder, and she's reaching this arm right above the head, big stretch. The arm's not going off to the side, it's reaching uphill. Then she lets the butt come down, returns the hand and goes the other way. So there's that twist, lift, stretch feeling, okay? Make sure that when you roll to your side that you don't end up right on the outside of the shoulder, but it stays just a little bit on the back of the shoulder. There you go, and again. 5, and we'll just do 1 more for now. 6, butt really tight, squeeze it, lift it, great. Lower down. Now your arms can relax. Let's take both legs up in the air as straight as your flexibility allows. If you've got really bendy hamstrings, have them way up here. If you need to bend a little bit, that's okay. Remember, keep your toes pointed up to the ceiling to reduce the stretch component. She's now going to work on her lower abs. It's important that she keeps her bum up slightly and her lower back flat to the ground. I can't get my hand under there, okay? Shoulders are relaxed. Single leg at a time, lowering towards the floor, please. Lower back flat and back up. Just nice and slow, alternating legs. Now the straighter the leg, the more weight. So if she has a straight knee like this, it's a longer lever, go. That basically weighs more, okay? If you can't keep the back flat though, bend the knees so that you're gonna land closer to your butt, not so far across the room, it's less weight. And of course, if you can't reach the ground, that's cool, just go halfway, okay? The number 1 rule is that you keep that lower back firm on the ground and the belly button glued to the spine. Okay, let's land the feet now and go back to the side reach for a second time. So the elbows in, feet close to the butt, lift the hips and reach up across the opposite shoulder. That lovely little stretch feeling, she's lifting up in the air here, and then back to the ground, other side. One more each. Okay, let's go for the lower ab leg drop. And again, imagine that there's a drawing pin right underneath your tailbone, so you have to sort of lift up just to stay off it throughout this whole move. 1 leg at a time. Crystal? Now for now, try to make an effort, keep going, not to pull the other leg in too deliberately. Just let it stay where it started. Cool. Done. Stage 2 of your core exercises. Basically the same stuff, just a harder version of it. Okay, so we're going to come back to a side reach, but this time we're doing it from the hands. Again, the feet about hip to shoulder width, maybe a little wider because we're going to be off the ground. My butt's floating, yeah, and I'm on my hands. Try not to let you have your shoulders up around your ears. Keep those shoulders pulled back. Fingers, generally speaking, point to the outside or maybe backwards a little bit. Lift up, reach and twist. And the other side, place that down, lift, reach and twist. So again, I'm using my butt and lower back and all that stuff to lift my hips up. I'm lifting my chest up. I'm trying to keep my shoulder down. We don't really want to up around your ears. Use muscles under your arms to keep it strong. Reach this arm right over to your ear and imagine making an arc right down the side of the top of the body. Changing sides. Finding a little rhythm now because we're getting warmer. Not quite landing your butt each time. And then we're going to lie down on your back. The setup for this is very similar to the lower ab leg drop we did before. Tailbone lifted, legs up, toes pointed a little bit, chin in. Now, start from the top. My shoulders are off. This is not just my arms, it's my shoulders have left the ground. So the only thing on the ground right now is my lower back. Open up, not quite landing the leg. Return to the beginning at the top. Notice one knee is coming in. If you want to make it harder, both legs, not quite landing the legs, to the top. Notice the shoulders are lifting off. Make sure it's not just an arm flap, but your body goes with it. Then back to the side reach again, straight into it. Then after another 10 of those, back to those staple crunches again. Okay, moving on. We're going to go into some hip escapes and some side shifty monkeys, but not moving around too much, just because we're probably doing this in our living room, but hey. From here, which is a box position, my knees are underneath my hips, my hands are underneath my shoulders. For example, my arms out in front. This is not a press up with my legs back here, and my knees are off the ground, just floating. Pull your tummy to your spine and make sure you have a nice long back. We're not hunching, okay? Long neck. From here, I'm gonna roll one foot and take the other leg underneath, out to the side and stretch out that way. Top hand opens up to the side. You'll notice I've rotated my back foot so the weight is actually through the heel, and although my ankle lands, my ass is just off the ground. And again, looking after my shoulder for my top arm. Rotate back underneath to the middle, make sure you're in a box. Out to the other side, open the chest. And just think a 90-degree angle at those legs to really open up. It's not aiming backwards, it's aiming out to the side. Open the chest, back to the middle. I'm going to look for around about 10 of these. Although to be fair, I haven't been counting. Crystal, how many's that?
I can't count.
Oh, Crystal can't count. Let's just do one more each side and it'll be fine. From there, we're going to come down to a nice deep squat. Some of you might need to be there. You might like to do this with the couch to help. So you put your hands on the couch and absorb a little bit of the weight. That's fine. But ideally, you come way down here. You're going to step one leg out to the side. Make sure your foot is rolled externally instead of internally. That's going to help you to keep your knee a little bit healthier. Notice it's a really big stretch here. Use your hands to come across to the other side. Again, foot rolled externally, knee straight. Ideally heels down, but that does take a bit of flexibility. So if you need to rise to your toe, that's fine. I mean, in an ideal world, you've got your butt down and your body up nice and tall, and you just shift across side to side, using your hands to help. Remember, you can put your hands on the couch to help if needed. And of course, everyone's flexibility is different. So if you need to be up a little bit, that's fine, but do your best to stay low. If you're feeling like it's a bit easy, hands off, just shift across and shift across. Once you've done 10 of those, back to the hip escape. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then back to that nice wide shift across, whichever option you choose. 10 of those. And repeat 3 times. Okay guys, welcome to the meaty part of the workout now. We're going to work your right leg and then we're going to do some press-ups. Then we're going to work your left leg and do some press-ups. Then your right leg and do some press-ups. Then your left leg and do some press-ups. Get the pattern here? So we need a chair or a sofa or the edge of your bed, whatever works well for you. Crystal's going to take one foot onto the back of the chair, or the front of the chair. It's just going to rest there. Okay, we need something that's approximately knee height. Then we hop out a little bit distance in front. She's got a lovely upright posture there. So let's just do a single-legged squat, Crystal. You'll notice her knees going forward over her toe, getting a stretch out of her back leg and rising to the top and down again. But now I'm not going to let her straighten her knee at the top, just 90% of the way up, girl. Nice and smooth and slow. There we go. Weight through that front foot as much as possible. And again. Bet you're enjoying that, Crystal?
No.
Okay. Just think you've got to go for a run later. Right, now press-ups. Okay, hands just a touch wider than shoulder width. Body nice and flat. And just press-ups. Hey, we know what press-ups look like. Chest down to the ground. Shoulder blades connecting in your upper back. Make sure that you don't sag your hips. Crystal, can you show them sagging? There you go. See, she's curving down towards the ground. Feels bad. So let's keep the abs on and away you go. Do as many as you can. If you find you're doing way too many, slow them down so you have more time under tension. Right, that looks good, Crystal. Let's put the other leg on the chair. Yep, back foot just resting. Find the perfect distance in front, body upright, and away we go. Okay, and then of course she's done that till the leg really burns. And then we're going to jump back down to the press-ups again. Surprise, surprise. Okay, option on your knees, good choice, Crystal. So if you're feeling fatigued, you can go on your knees. That's totally cool, okay? Now, another option is to go in a box and actually make it even easier again. But notice that when she goes in a box, she still keeps her shoulders forward over her hands. Do a press-up, Crystal. Great. Or you can even do it with your hands on the edge of a bench or your bed, but still on your toes in a straight line. Next up, goblet squats, working both legs at once. You're going to need a weight. Now, we're currently filming this in the gym, so we've got dumbbells everywhere. But you can hold a box of beer, a bag of potatoes, a small child, whatever works for you. Something, 5 or so kilos. Obviously, everyone's got different strengths, but as long as you grab a thing. Hold it up close to the chest and push the elbows forward. My feet are a little bit wider than my shoulder width and my toes are turned out. As I squat down, I push my elbows forward and look horizontally. I wouldn't want to be bending over. Got to bend those knees. And then rise up, not quite locking at the top. Notice the elbows pushing forward. So I'm reasonably flexible, so I can get fairly low in my squats. If you're not as flexible, don't go quite as low, that's okay. But remember that feeling of pushing the elbows forward, the weight staying really close to the chest and the throat. Looking for 10 to 15 of those. And then onto something funky, okay? Take your chair or your bench or the side of your, well, bed's probably too squishy, but hey, something about that height. Step back, body should be in a nice straight line, core involved, wider feet is a bit simpler, okay? Weight is straight down through this arm here, hips are level, and I row to the waist. So as I do this, I pull the shoulder right back. We wouldn't want to be here all scrunched up, just pulling in. And then of course I'm going to do the other side. Set my body up strong, straight down through here, abs involved, feet solid, shoulders going to roll back into the waist. And then, great, put that down, straight back to that goblet squat. And then back into the rows again, okay? Back and forth between that leg activity and the pulling on either side. So working onto the legs a little bit more again, we have what we tend to refer to as a Romanian deadlift. It's a single-legged, semi-stiff deadlift with the back leg lifting like a pair of scales. So first thing, stand incredibly upright. Wonderful posture, please. Okay, she's now going to tip at the hip and raise one leg out behind her. The hands are just going to reach towards the ground. Can you just pause there, Crystal? Thank you. She's got a slight bend in her standing knee. Her back leg is up in line with her torso. Crystal, can you just lower it and show them what it looks like to break the line? See how it's not in line? Lift that back leg up. Now, of course, if you're quite flexible and strong, you can keep tipping all the way to the ground and then return to the top. Back up. Great, same leg again. Let's go. So it's the point here is to fold at the hip. Try to keep both hips pointing forward so you're not rotating. Just exactly not doing that. Good, lift the back leg up and away we go. When I do this, I like to think more about lifting that back leg up and the body will just bend itself over anyway, okay? And then lift the hands off the ground before you let the foot come down. Do it again. Yep, that's it. Other side's fine. Away we go. Fold at the hip. That's it, lifting the back leg lovely and high. Weight through the heels and up we go. One more. So this is definitely working on your balance, but it's also working on that lovely stretch reflex through the hamstrings. Actually really good for runners. Next up though, Crystal, we're going to head down to the ground. You get to lie down in a half Turkish get up with a step back through, which sounds much more complicated than it is. Okay, so she's going to have one knee bent, one leg straight. The arm of the leg that is bent is up in the air. You might like to actually hold a dumbbell when you do this. I mean, if you have one, or crace a beer, or even just an empty hand and hold the torch for freedom and away you go. You notice that the bottom arm is straight on the ground and about 45 degrees away from the side of the body. Stage one, roll up over that downward arm, right up to your hand. Notice that she's in a sit position here, extending the spine. Now she's going to lift her bum off the ground, hold. Great, lifting up. Now take the front leg underneath and out the back, step backwards. Stay there, Crystal. Bring the leg back through to the front again. Sit down on it again and roll back into the ground. Let's do that again. Up, lift, extend, step back out behind. Lovely straight line through the top arm through to the bottom hand. Take your leg through and sit down on it like Peter Andre and lie down. Then of course you do the other side. So bend the other knee and set yourself up. Great, roll up all the way up to that bottom hand. Step back under. Big stretch, back through the front, and sit down on it. One more time for demonstration. Up, under, back through, and then down. Awesome. Single-legged squat, we've got a seat. The lower the seat, the harder it is. I'm going to start with my heel fairly close to there. Always abs on, chest up, lovely posture. One leg is floating, and as I go down towards my seat, I raise my front leg and hands up and rise up again. The slower you go, the better. You can use a bit of momentum to get that standing up if needed, like this. That's a bit easier. And of course you can use your hands a little bit as well. But ideally we want to make this as hard as we can, so do it slow and take that momentum out. Just nice and slow. Touch lightly and rise back up. Do that for say 10 each side if you can. Then grab your crate of beer, a box of potatoes, small child or a dumbbell, a brick, that'll be fine. Okay, hold it so your hands are about yay far apart. Feet yay far apart. Body upright. Start rotating your chest to one side. Notice how the weight is on the outside of one hip. But I'm keeping my head straight, so there's this rotation at my waist right now. I'm going to lift from there up to the center, down to the side. Up to the center, down to the side. Trying to keep the arms fairly long. And if it's too heavy, you can do this by bending your arms, but the best results are going to be that long journey. Now, as I do this, I need to make sure I don't kink at the hip. I'm rotating, but I'm up straight and tall, not bending over. It's just twisting, straighten up. Then of course I'm going to put that thing down. Down, there you go, great. Leg two. Sit down, rise up. Then I'm going to pick up this, go up the other side, up, down. If you want to make it a bit more challenging, have your feet a bit closer, but don't let the hips go with it. Keep the hips square. Great. More core work, more staple crunching. So we're going to start with the legs up, toes slightly pointed, bend the knees a bit if needed, but as straight as you reasonably can. Lift the tailbone off the ground. Now, shoulders lift off, so that means my chest is up to my thighs and I reach towards my feet. It's not just the arms, it's the whole upper body. 10 if possible. Remember, you've got the option of landing a little closer or bringing one knee in, so it's only one leg out. Number one rule, of course, is that that lower back is flat to the ground. 10 of those, okay? Just do that. Great. Once you've done 10, do another 10. Have you done another 10? Okay, great. Now that you've done another 10, I'll just give you a moment to finish your 10. Okay, cool. Press pause if you have to. Ready? Next up, staple crunches, but done on the side for an oblique staple crunch. My bottom arm is about 45 degrees uphill. Generally speaking, palm down tends to be comfortable. My hips have rolled back, so I'm kind of on the flat of my bottom butt cheek. I'm not completely square. I've rolled back. There's a balance point there. Now my legs are off the ground, so that means my obliques are working already. Top arm reaching long. And then I'm going to use this bottom arm to help to lift up and extend. Up and extend. Squeezing. There. And down. And of course, I always say do 10 and then get to 6 and think that feels like enough. So I'll roll over now, set up the other side, top arm about 45, bottom arm about 45 degrees forward, hips rolled slightly, crunch. Right up if you can, and then down. I'm assuming that you've done 10 each side, and then the other side, 10 each side, and again 10 each side. Great, so that's 2 sets. Let's move on. Next up, shoulders stay relaxed, arms at about 90 degrees away from the body, knees up to the chest, legs together. Roll side to side. And of course you can have your legs a little straighter as well. Okay? Again, more flexible hamstrings mean you can have the knee a bit straighter. What is important is that the angle between the thigh and the torso is 90 degrees or less. For example, if I'm here, I might feel that pressure on my back. If I bring the knees in, I don't. But the weight is up to you. Light, heavy, something in between. Keep your knees together. Rotate to the side and back up. And when I do this, I'm going to pull my tummy in and then think of pulling my obliques around the corner to bring me back into the middle. When I do go to the side, make sure that the knees are together if you can, and that you're not dropping down low. Keep it connected. If you reach the ground, great. If you don't worry about it. Back up, okay? 2 sets of 20, which is 10 each way. That'll be the plan. Okay, again, I've got my objective, whatever it may be. Again, 5-ish kilos, something that's, a weight, but not crazy. Shoulders down. We want the legs down low, but not completely straight. Just a little bit bent and a little bit apart as well. Keep the chin in. Arms ideally stay balanced. Fully extend underneath. And then roll down through your spine. Crunch up. Fully extend underneath. And roll down through your spine. Try to make sure you're not violent with your neck. Under control, and roll down through your spine. We cool? Do as many of them as you can until it really hurts, and then do a few more. So this part of the workout is stretching to help us recover and keep loose. So Crystal's going to start on the ground, and we're going to do this in live time. So just follow along. We'll just wait for you to get on the ground. You cool? You had a drink of water? You happy?
Hurry up.
Okay, fine. So let's just start with a calf stretch. You're just going to take one leg out the back, one knee straight, dropping into the heel. Lift the hips a little bit, just to drop some weight down through the heel, and just hold that for a little while. Oh, that feels nice. Let's do the other side. Good. Nice little calf stretch. Want to do it twice, Crystal?
Yeah.
People are doing this at home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other side? Great. Okay, let's move on to some hamstrings and lower back. So you just sit on the ground, one leg out straight and one knee to the inside thigh right here, okay? If you can pull the toe back on the leg that's straight, that's fabulous for you. Now what I want you to do is reach your opposite hand across your body so she's twisted. See how her shoulders have twisted and they're actually in line with the leg. Now lean that shoulder towards the knee and reach the back arm up and over the top. Okay, the more flexible you get, the further you can get your shoulders down to your leg. Notice how her arm is touching her ear as well. Okay, let's try the other side. Don't worry guys, we're going to do this twice, so if you didn't get long enough the first time, you can the second. Foot swap, reach and twist towards the opposite leg, tip over, arm to your ear, and over we go. All right, let's do the first side again, because I reckon these guys need to do it twice.
Oh, no, I do.
Twist, reach up, arm to your ear, and roll over. There we go. So this is getting the hamstring, of course, because you are reaching towards the leg, but it's getting actually quite a nice lower back and side stretch as well. Even a little bit of shoulders, getting a bit of mobility there. Okay, Crystal, can we sit cross-legged or as close to it as you can? Okay. If your knees have to point up a little bit because your groin isn't as flexible, that's okay, but let them fall down as much as you can. Now sit up as straight as you can, woman.
I am.
Oh, sit up straighter. Be straighter. There we go.
Yep.
Okay, now twist and rotate towards one side. So similar to before, but we're now really focusing on simply twisting as far as we can. She's really pushing that hand into the leg. The other arm is helping to keep it upright, and turn your chin and look at your shoulder. Look right round. Now go the other way. Big twist. Remember, the spine rotates more easily the more upright it is, so try not to slouch too much. And again. And then the other way. Okay, Crystal, please lay down on your back, both knees bent. Okay, take one foot to the opposite knee. That's it. So she's laying the ankle on the opposite knee. And you can see there's a little gap, like a little triangle between the two legs there. One hand reaches through the triangle and grabs to either the shin, or let's show them grabbing the hamstring just in case. There you go. Depends how flexible you are. The shoulders can lift off the ground as well if you like it. But what we're doing is we're getting a stretch on, in this case, her right butt cheek. Sorry, be technical. Gluteals and hamstring insertion. Let's try the other side. Place the foot down, swap the legs over. Let the knee fall outwards as much as you can, reach through the gap. Yep, one more time each. This time try and get yourself into a tighter little ball. Imagine you're trying to get yourself into a suitcase. And swap. Great. Now it's time for us to simply stand up. Okay, with great posture, pull the shoulders back, connect the hands behind the back, let the wrist fold to the side. She's got straight elbows and she's getting a squeeze together in the scapulae right here. And what this is doing is it's opening up the front of the shoulder right here. From there, she just lift the arm backwards away behind her. Okay, cool. Don't lean over, stay upright. Cool. All right, let's take the hands around in front of you. Connect your fingers again, but this time turn them inside out. Great, and raise your arms up above your head so the palms are facing to the ceiling. Keep your feet grounded and just a little tip side to side. So just reach over the top, great. And then the other way. Good, let's go back to the chest and shoulder stretch again. So the hands connect again behind the back. Squeeze those shoulder blades. Triceps are looking nice, Crystal. Lift the arms backwards. And then release. Hands connect in there. Turn the fingers inside out. Sounds more painful than it is. Okay. Feet fairly solid and lean over the side. Cool. You can stop now.
That feels good.
So, Crystal, any questions on that workout?
I think that covers pretty much everything. Top to bottom, inside out.
Okay.
You're good.
Right. See you for the next one.